It's still the weekend, so we're gonna do another museum day. Today we're gonna go to a really fun little a gem of a museum here in Kansas City, the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures. I think that's the correct. Hold on. Yes, it is the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures. It's such a fun, cute little museum. I think that my annual membership actually expires really soon, so I'm going mostly because I got to make sure I get my trips in. Also, got to do the obligatory fit check outfit of the day. I did, of course, make both the shirt and the dress. Anyway, let's go see some toys and miniatures. There she is. Look at how beautiful, the American Museum of Toys and Miniatures. Okay, so when you first come inside, there's this little button that you push, and then you sit down and watch a movie, and it sort of explains the history of the museum.
I really feel that some people are born with the tendency to like small things, and I think I'm one of those.
The TLDR on this video is that this museum started as the individual collections of two different women, one of whom collected toys and the other one collected miniatures. This dichotomy still exists within the collection. The miniatures are downstairs and the toys are upstairs. These two women both had these wild collections, and they met and they became friends. At some point, somebody was like, hey, what if you guys put all this stuff together into a museum, and also like not in our houses? And they did. I just think that it's really cool and interesting how an additional sort of like sub theme of this museum is sort of museums and collections themselves. It's also just really lovely to me to consider that these women get to have a legacy live on in their collections. Both women have since passed, but their families have this really incredible piece of them. And I don't know, I just think that that's really magical. Anyway, we start downstairs in the fine scale miniatures, and there's just so much stuff. This collection is massive. Over here, you have a small sample of miniature furniture, and then up here is some textiles. Okay, if you think this stuff is really cool, and if you're ever in Chicago, you obviously have to go check out the Art Institute. They have a really incredible collection of miniatures, and of particular importance to me, you also have to go to the Museum of Science and Industry. I actually don't know for sure if it's still there, but I know that Colleen Moore's dollhouse was at the Museum of Science and Industry all throughout my childhood, and it was my favorite fucking thing. I have a whole Colleen Moore's Fairy Castle coffee table book that my grandma bought me like 20 years ago. Anyway, that's for another day. Just look at this. This stuff is so beautiful and incredible. Oh, I fucking love these instruments. My favorite part of the musical instruments is the sheet music, which is also like full replicas. Like those books have actual sheet music inside them, and that is wild to me. One of the things that I find most incredible and impressive about the miniatures floor is that it is obviously fine art. Like that's a big part of what's going on there. This is really incredible, beautiful fine art. The level of detail and craftsmanship in these pieces is absolutely incredible, and there is something spectacular about trying to create these things at this scale. The other thing that's really interesting to me about this floor and this collection is that there's also a lot of historical recreation happening here too. I just think there's some really interesting motivations driving the artists behind these pieces and the curation of the collection itself. Just look at it. Just look at it. This is wild, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just so amazed that somebody did that. Scanned a little QR codes, and so this room, it was created by Harry Smith, who spent nearly 6,000 hours over 4 years recreating King Louis XV's private study in the Palace of Versailles. This room was actually a special commission for the National Museum of Toys and Miniatures. Again, what the hell? How can you not be awed by this? Right? We, of course, have to swing through the Masterpiece Gallery. I don't actually know why these are masterpieces and not all of the others. This is my favorite of the pieces in the Masterpiece Gallery. In addition to all the incredibly detailed, little furniture pieces, there's all these detailed paintings on the little furniture pieces, and I just think that's amazing. There's also stuff for iPad babies in the Masterpiece Gallery, which of course I love. So here's the Antwerp cabinet, which is my favorite piece. Okay, wait, actually the skeleton is maybe my favorite piece. Look, he's so tiny. These birds are also really sick. Shout out to birds. There's this really cool room with all sorts of details about how these miniatures are created. It's around this point that I realized I mismanaged my time terribly, so here's like a quick scan of this room. And then I popped over to speedrun the miniature maze. This is actually like a really huge hallway of all of these little rooms. They're all really, really wonderful, but I did have to stop and look at one of my personal favorites, the Art Deco jewelry store. So beautiful, so tiny, So Art Deco. I love how most of these rooms are collaborative pieces like this. A bunch of different people created all these little details that coalesce into this really beautiful, majestic piece. After that, it was time to head upstairs and check out the toys. First up is the dolls and dollhouses room. This first dollhouse is really cool because it's a local, like the architecture of this house too is like very recognizable. Like, I don't know, everything along Ward Parkway looks kind of like that, and it's really cool. Now, I think that there is something inherently sort of, I don't know, sociologically interesting about the distinction between miniatures and toys. But even within the toy collection, and the dollhouse room specifically, has some really interesting, glaring class distinctions. So when you come into the room and you start going to the left, which is what I did, you get a lot of more contemporary dollhouses. These are the mass-produced dollhouses. These are all really recognizable. Okay, and before I show you the other half of the room with the rich people dollhouses, we do have to pop through this room of dolls. And, I don't really know what commentary I can offer. It's really just that, like, I saw these dolls, and now I think you have to see these dolls too. And honestly, I'm not sorry, okay? I just feel like we're going through this together. We're having this shared experience. That's really all I have to say about that. Yep. Okay, so now it's time to go look at all the rich people dollhouses. There's a really interesting juxtaposition, I think, between like the miniatures downstairs and then these dollhouses and then the sort of plastic dollhouses. Like, these are definitely nicer than the plastic dollhouses, but these are also clearly not the same thing as like the miniatures. It's not super clear in this video, but this collection is really cool, partially because it's highlighting the different kinds of found objects that were used to create a lot of these furniture pieces. And here there's like some interest in fidelity, but the real interest is in functionality. Like, the goal here is to create something that a child will play with. A lot of these rooms are recreations of elements of like the little girls' houses, and as impressive as it is to see all of the beautiful stuff downstairs, it's also really cool to think about these pieces and the lives that they lived with their child owners. The museum is also like very aware of the sociological implications of toys too. This whole section here is about like toys imparting kind of values and beliefs, but it's also showing the ways in which these concepts endure. So in each of these cases, there are two like comparable toys that are about a century apart in time, but they're all toys and they're sharing really similar functions. And there's something really beautiful and interesting about ideas about play enduring in that way. This was just a fun little interactive section. I'm just, having a little hee hee ha ha. Looks like the one on the far left was jammed. It's like missing a marble or something. The special exhibit now is this Star Wars thing. I don't care about Star Wars, literally at all. I did kind of a speed run through the exhibit just to be like, look, here it is. The last time I was here, the special exhibit was a collection of black dolls. Actually, the last time I was here, I think the special exhibit space was closed. But the time before that, it was a collection of black dolls, and that was, in my opinion, much cooler. But I understand why other people would really appreciate this Star Wars toy collection. So here you go. Look at some Star Wars toys. Okay, so this is like the toy industry through the ages. So we're back in Germany a couple hundred years ago, and that's like the beginning of the toy industry as we know it now. Then we have French fashion dolls, which honestly I could do a whole other video on some other day. This is like personal special interest. And then from there we move to the Industrial Revolution, and then we sort of make our way through the ages, right? And you have war times. This is World War One, and then World War Two, and like post-war, and then we ultimately end up at the contemporary toy industry, which is heavy on electronics and lots of video game consoles that are actually nostalgic now. Again, there's a lot of really interesting signage about like the roles of toys and like how they are imparting ideas about relationships and societal values and all of that good stuff. I also really dig their collection of historic board games and this like Game of Games shelf. All of the games, the answers are very, very old things. And then the last thing I want to show you is this collection of like 1800s optical toys. These are super neat. Don't mind the cut here. I was trying to figure out how to actually film this. Sorry about my wonky camera work. The museum closes at 4 and I didn't get here until a little after 3, and so I truly felt like I was racing through that museum, but I love it so much. In spite of the fact that I was like truly racing through the museum, I did also swing by the museum gift shop and get myself this sticker and then a mug that I don't want to take out of the bag, but it has the like museum's logo on it. Anyway, this museum is a genuine delight. If you're ever in Kansas City or if you like live in the area, you should definitely come check it out. It's not like a whole day activity, but I don't know, a couple hours. The 45 minutes that I had was not enough time. I'd say it's like a 2-hour activity. It's $10 and so so worth the trip. Actually, I get a free guest with my membership, so come visit me and I will take you to this museum and we will have so much fun. I promise. Anyway, thanks for checking it out with me today. Okay, bye.